Hello everyone, I'm coming to you from the Vintage Sewing Machine Garage YouTube channel, and today I'm going to be putting the wires back on my Rheostat speed controller. And the wires were in here, and there's a nice smooth piece of steel on this opening. There may have been a grommet. Some of the manufacturers used a grommet to basically either hold the cord still, but also it was used to prevent a lot of chafing of the metal on the cord itself. So, and then others used a strain relief, but not all of them. So I wanted to kind of look at this today, and we're going to be, I have a rubber grommet here I'm going to be using, and I'm going to do that. I'm basically got it in my hand here, and I need to take the two wires of my cord and then the cord itself and push them through. This grommet, I believe I got a really good sized grommet because it's larger than the hole, but I can still compress it to get it in that hole, and that I'll be testing it to see if the tension is enough to hold it still. And I have two sort of, I guess you'd call them bolts or screws here. They're terminals where I'm going to be rewrapping the wires. And so if the wires of your cord get kind of squirrely, you want to just sort of twist them back into some sort of taut shape there. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to be pushing these in, bring them through. And I don't need to put in my grommet yet. I want to go ahead and get, my cord wires reattached. So one of them goes to, again, this right here, down here on the left, and then sort of upper right is where the other one's going to go. So I want to take my ends here, and for the one on the left, I'm going to start there, and then after I've sort of make sure that the wires are holding together, I'm going to go ahead and start to put a little turn in there so that it'll make it easier for me to get it wrapped around that screw. And if this is actually going to show, there we go. Now, sometimes the wires are going to want to sort of splay out or fray out as you turn the screw itself. So I want to make sure that doesn't happen. So I'm tightening the screw, but then I want to before I snug it down, I want to push in, just make sure those wires are staying under the head of that screw, because you want them to make contact and stay put. And let's see here. I'm going to do the same with my other wire. Getting it in a sort of in a crook, candy cane, shepherd's hook shape there. And there's a little upturn here on this brass piece that kind of helps me channel that wire and keep it underneath this screw. And of course your wire is it might try to move, so you want to kind of try to hold it still. You can see me doing that with my left index finger, and I'm just sort of tucking the wire back under there. Again, doing this, never have anything like this plugged in when you're working on it. All right. Now, I'm going to come back over to this side because I want that same little flare of the this brass piece here, it comes up on the end, and I want to make sure that the wire, I may use that to help me tuck the wire in there so it's less apt to wiggle. Just coming over and snugging these a little bit more. If you over tighten them, I mean, if you try to crush them, you can actually squish the wires out from under there, and they are pretty good to go here. So now when I do this, I'm not going to tug all the way and put total stress on the wires. I want there to be just a little bit, not much, right? It's not going to interfere with anything, and I don't want to create too much slack because now I've got cords over here. But I don't want it to be totally drum tight or taut, right? I can keep pulling. Let's let just a little bit of slack there in place. Now I'm going to come back and take my grommet, and I'm going to and when you're pushing this in, the rubber has a slightly bigger circumference than the hole, but it is flexible. And I'm just fortunate to happen to have this size of a grommet. So it just went in, it kind of snugged it in there. And now you can really adjust, you know, if you're looking at the cord, if I pull, I can pull the wires, the cord through the grommet, but it's very snug. It's a nice tight rubber, and it's not flopping, it's not coming in and out. I can also create more slack here by pushing there, but I'm actually fairly happy with what I've got. And so if I've got this, I haven't put the base back on yet, but notice when I'm pushing, this is very snug. It's not easily flopping around, because if if you're going to use a grommet and the grommet doesn't work, really well to hold the cord from moving on its contact points, you really want a strain relief. And strain reliefs you can buy. You can get them. I think hardware stores may still sell those. Okay, so now we're ready to put our bottom piece back on, and remember that the side where your cord is, remember when we took it off, that opening, that slot was up here by where the cord goes in. It has to go in the same direction. If you turn it this way, it's not going to work out well. So we're going to come over here, and this is basically got the you see the side metal, how it's ready. It's like on a little track, and I want this, you can see how snug it was because it scratched the paint when I was taking it off. So basically I'm going to come back, and let's see what I've got here. I'm going to come back, and I want to get the sides of the pedal on the inside of those tracks. And it is snug, right? You might be tempted to use like a little sewing oil. I really don't want oil anywhere near this pedal, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to tap it in. It should slide for you though. I don't want to whack this thing so hard that I'm going to cause any damage to my porcelain. That would be ridiculous. See if I can hold this in such a way so you can see what's happening here. So I'm just tapping it with the mallet, and it's moving. Okay, we have now inspected, cleaned. No point in cleaning if it fails inspection. We have inspected and cleaned and put a rubber grommet in for our cord, and it grabs a hold of that cord very well. So anything left? Well, yeah. You'll notice underneath You see these little things? These are the remnants. These were brass pieces that used to hold feet, either plastic or rubber feet. You may have them on yours. Well, sometimes those things fall off. So I have different things I can use. I have little self-adhesing pieces of cork I can use. I can use rubber feet, but I actually have some pieces from, these are actually made of wool, and they're actually used, they're felt, and they're used for putting on the bottom of chair legs to keep them from scratching the floor like in the kitchen. Well, and these have adhesive. I just peeled off that one of them with the white paper there, and I'm just going to put one on each of these on each of these little areas to basically restore the foot function. Now, why is that important? Well, it's important because there is no fan, there's no motor cooling these. Remember, these things build up with heat and they need to cool, and so if your pedal does not have any feet, you need to give it some. And that is important because they cool by convection, and by that I mean the movement of air. When there's warm air, cool air comes in to replace it, and that's what you want for your foot pedal. Now, if you have felt and you don't have any, maybe you don't have some that have this adhesive, you're going to need to find some form of cement or glue that will allow them to attach. But it's going to be you're going to need to use an adhesive that is heat resistant, because these things get warm. A lot of glues can function really well until they get warm and then they fail. So again, this allows, right? This allows, if I can hold this right in the right spot, we're going to have a little, about 1/4 of an inch or so of room underneath that pedal. And that's important because air will move under there and help it to cool. You don't want it to get too warm, because that's how it was designed to work. I hope this video was helpful for all of you. I am getting more and more anticipation as I get ready to actually, pretty soon, I'm going to be plugging this in and we're going to see if it works, if the machine works at all after all my efforts. Anyway, if you have not done so, please subscribe to this channel. You can just click the subscribe button. And if you would like to help me find and procure more machines to rescue, feel free to click on the Buy Me a Coffee links. You find them in any of my videos along with the homepage, and you can click on there and donate at any level of your choice, and that really will help me to expand the number of machines I look for and rescue and demonstrate on the channel here for all of you. Thank you all for watching and supporting the channel over the years. We'll see you soon.